guys, welcome again to my channel. My name is Henrietta. If you've watched my previous video, that was my introductory video, my introduction to YouTube. And if I didn't mention, I live in Canada. Okay, so today's video is going to be about a story time on why I came to Canada. Hmm. So I'm going to start from the very beginning and tell you the story the way it all started. So in Nigeria, I had a very good job. I was working in the bank for security reasons. I'm not going to mention the bank. And I was earning a decent salary. So something happened one day as I was going to work. On my way to work, very early in the morning, as it is the case in Nigeria, if you don't leave very early, of course, you're not going to get to your office on time. So that particular day, I left the house, and my sister normally takes me as she's going to work. So she dropped me off, and then I was supposed to take like what they call Okada to my office. So this is like the normal thing we do every day. It's not anything out of the ordinary. So she dropped me off as usual, and then I got down, took a bike without even looking. I just took a bike, and then I the bike, of course, the bike man zoomed off, and because for some reason that morning, I guess I wasn't really paying attention. The bike that I normally take, they'll go through the main road, but on this particular day, the guy went through like in between streets, and for some reason I didn't see it as anything, and I didn't, kind of like question anything. And all of a sudden, it came to my mind like, what is this guy doing? And I said, please, why are you passing here? These streets are dark. If you are very familiar in Nigeria, there's always no lights. So it was one of those mornings there was no light, and yeah, so I asked him, why are you passing through this way? Because I noticed that he would, as if he's trying to make up his mind on what to do. Now, as at that time, I didn't know what happened. It was later I was thinking this whole thing through. So he was riding the bike, and then I asked him, why are you passing through this? And I said, no, that is he wanted to pass a shortcut. And I said, okay, no problem. But please, I prefer if you go on the major road where at least the street light can be showing, even if there's no light in between those houses. So he now went back on the normal road. And then as we are approaching my office, I could just see like my office right in front of me, the light. Of course, there's no light everywhere, but there's light in the office, and the light was just shining. But the guy just slowed down. Immediately he slowed down. I noticed by this with the corner of my eye that there was a lady passing. As the guy slowed down, you guys, he just brought out a gun. And it was like your money or your life. And I had my bag, my shoes, my makeup, and that shoe I just bought it. As at that time, was like maybe in maybe 2008, if I'm not mistaken. I just bought that shoe. The shoe was 13,000. I just carried everything, and my makeup, Mary. Then we used to use Mary Kay. My makeup, everything brand new. Everything was just like what a lot of money for me. I just carried everything like, and again, I forgot to mention I was supposed to spend the weekend with my sisters and in-law. So I had my clothes and everything. I just threw everything. Like I said before, this was just very close to the office. Like I could see the security men right in front of me. And I told you just not too long ago, a lady just walked past me. But this guy still did what he did. And even the lady that walked past, she did not make a sound. Because me, I just shouted. Me, I got down from the bike. I just started crying. I said, I shouted, that be robbed, that be robbed, ole, 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 ole. And then the of course the guy had already zoomed off. And then the what they call the security guard from my office just came and like, madam, what happened, what happened? I said, see, they just robbed me. And then I walked into the office, so demoralized and so frightened and so tired, like I don't know if you've ever experienced, I don't wish it for any of my worst enemy, but the feeling is just crazy and it's very terrible. Anyway, this is just to build up on the reasons why I left Nigeria. That was like the first scenario. The second scenario was my sister, again, she just bought a car. They'll call, as at that time, was this American spec CRV. She just bought the car. And then we're supposed to wash it. You know, what they call wash in Nigeria is like you need to celebrate that you just bought a car. So that particular day, we I think I went with her to her office if I can remember correctly, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, we were sharing in the car and we're driving back. Like I said, it was a brand new car. She had not put any like security or anything to this car. So we're going back home and I was sitting in front of the car. If I remember correctly, we're coming back from her office. Yeah. I can't remember what I went to go and do in her office, so please don't ask me. Anyway, I was seated in front of the car. My sister was driving, and then she had one of her colleagues at the back of the car. And as we're approaching very close to home, not too close to home anyway, but we're still on the express road. But then you could see that there was traffic building up in front. So we slowed down, or rather, my sister slowed down the car. Immediately she slowed down the car. I think like three guys on a bike just double crossed us, and we're close to the curb. So they just double crossed us and made my sister to stop the car by force. And immediately they stopped the car and they were getting down from the bike. It was as if it was in a movie scene. They just got down. Three of them just brought out guns like this. It was like a slow motion. And we never forget that day. He just brought out their guns and then he just faced us. And as we were just still in shock, like what is happening? What is happening? One of them just went towards the driver's seat, dragged my sister out of the car, pushed her to the back seat, and then the other one came towards the passenger seat close to me, and then went to the back, opened the door, and entered. Meanwhile, I told him we had somebody at the back, so they pushed my sister to the side, entered. One of them pushed my sister to the side, entered, and then the other one came to the other side. So they put my sister and her colleague in the middle, and then one of them started driving the car, and he had a gun, and I was in front. Come and see me praying. Jesus. I was just praying, God have mercy on me. God, please forgive me my sin. There was nothing I did not pray that day. And as we're going, if you see, these guys were very young guys, very, very young guys. And as we were going, they kept on asking, is there any security in this car? If this car stops, I'm going to blast your head. I'm going to kill. I was just praying. I was just praying, God, please help me. Meanwhile, I don't know if you've experienced somebody having a gun close to your head. This guy was driving with a gun and he was driving recklessly. I've okay, let's go back a little bit now. You know, this whole thing happened a long time ago. I'm just trying to put everything together. Maybe they entered the car. The guy just, I thought we were going, let's say we're going south. The guy just climbed in the car, climbed on top of the curb, and faced the other way. And started driving like a crazy maniac. Man, we're just praying. Me and my sister were just praying. And it was like, do you have any gold? I don't have any gold, sir. Are you married? Where's your wedding ring? As I then I wasn't married. Are you married? I'm not married. Now I remember this story was before the previous story I just mentioned. So this was the day I remember very, very well. I'm sorry if this story is all over the place, but this was the day I got my appointment letter in my job at the bank. So yeah. So as we were, and I had that was the day I was coming back from my interview. I just got the appointment letter to start work. So I had my what they call it, my letter of employment. I had all my credentials, all my documentation, everything in a bag inside the car. So after some time, the guys they were going to go towards like we're still on the highway, but then they were going to kind of like take a another way and enter into like a major highway. But for some reason, they just told us to get down from the car. So they stopped the car and told me and my sister and this guy to get out of the car. I just jumped out of the car. You know, my phone, I think they took one of my phones. I had two phones. They took one of my phone, but I had another small phone that was inside my bag. And fortunately, my sister carried that bag of my credentials. This whole thing was later after everything had happened that I was seeing all this happen, like recalling everything that happened. I don't know if you know what the process is to, get your documentations. Again, if you lose them in Nigeria, it's a crazy process. But as at that time, I mean to say, I did not even remember that I had even my employment letter or that I even had my documentations in the car. But for somehow the Spirit of God, the Holy Spirit, just made my sister pick up that bag when she was coming down from the car. So we got down from the car and then we were stranded in the night. This was say maybe 11, was getting to like probably maybe 10 thereabout at night. And then they said we had to report. Of course, we said we had to go and report the incident. And then we found our way in one police station there. That's the story of another. The police in Nigeria is crazy. Anyways, that experience gave me PTSD. Hmm. Anytime I see a bike kind of like suddenly double cross or almost come in front of my car, that memories, it flashes back and I'm like, God. Again, the second experience that I talked about being on the bike, gave me PTSD. After then, I was scared of taking bike, and if I were to take a bike, if I climb on the bike, I'll first of all try to somehow hug the person to see if they have a gun or something on their body. That is experience number two. The third experience that I'm talking about incidents that made me decide to leave Nigeria. A lot of people leave Nigeria because they feel like, I want to search for greener pastures. No, that was not my case. My case was security reasons. And like I said, I was doing very well. I had a good job. The third reason that made me leave was my colleague was going to drop me off from work after we finished because where my office is or was an industrial area, so they don't really have residential houses around. So once you finish, everybody is like rushing off to go home. So of course I wasn't driving as at that time. This whole story I'm talking about is around maybe 2000 and probably 2010, 2000 yeah, 2009 thereabouts. Because I know I started working in 2008, so within a space of 1 year, I thereabouts. Yeah. So anyway, back to the story. I went with my colleague, and then they dropped me at the bypass. They call it the bypass on the way towards Ojodu Bega. Those that are familiar with that road, they know. So shout out to you guys. Yeah. Anyway, so um at K2, there's a bypass there. So he stopped me on the bypass towards on K2 towards Ojudu Bega. So immediately I got down. Me innocently, not knowing anything, I just started walking towards where I was going to take a bus home because by carrying me and stopping me there, my colleague had shortened my journey. So I carried my bag. If you're very familiar with that place, there's almost like not, I wouldn't call it a valley, but there's um like a high valley. Okay, for lack of better word, let's call it a valley. But you could see a little bit of the high and then a little bit of the low on both sides. This was during the day at about say 7 thereabouts. It wasn't dark. And in Nigeria by 7 the day is still very bright. Right? So I was just walking down, seeing the bus in front of me. They had two policemen in front. They were just there. I guess they were doing their job, mining things there. All of a sudden, I just heard on my neck like this. Three boys, or I think about two boys, came out from that place that I was describing earlier, and one gave me a blow, the other dragged my bag. Immediately, I just started running. I ran towards the policeman. I started crying, shouting that they just took my bag, they just took my bag, they just took my bag. Guess what? The policeman just looked at me and like, eh. Where did they go to? They were not even moving. So that made me so furious. But at the same time, I was helpless. I didn't have any money. I just sat down on the floor. I just started crying. And I'm like, God, what kind of trouble is this? What kind of problem is this? Luckily for me, I found a good Samaritan that gave me 100 naira. And I just took the bus and I went home. I think I got home at about maybe 12 midnight or past one that day. And that formed my decision that I need to leave this country. In fact, one of my friends even told me, my colleagues rather, said, Henrietta, why are you having these scenarios of gun theft back to back? This whole incident I'm talking about happened back to back, back to back. I told myself, if I stay one more day, or if I stay in this country one more year, or I don't know, at that time, where I was thinking, I probably would die. So I just started looking for means to leave the country. I didn't leave the country until like 2013. Yeah, so that is my story, and I hope I don't know you found it enjoyable. Probably I don't know what to use now, but it was very scary when this whole thing happened. So that was one of the reasons that made me to leave Nigeria. So if you found my story very interesting, please subscribe, like, and share this video, and come back for another. There's still gonna be more story times. Thank you very much, and bye.